All right, and we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the stream. My name is Sunny B, and today's episode we have a very special guest in Rick Beard joining us. He is the running governor of Nebraska. Go ahead and say what's up, man.
Hey, Sonny B, thank you for having me. I'm Rick Beard. I'm running for governor of Nebraska, third party with the Legal Marijuana Now party. Um, Happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So, just to kick us off here, let me just ask. So, what are you on in your campaign? What is your main goal, and what are you hoping to achieve?
Thank you for asking that. So, unlike the other candidates running, I'm running for on the platform of money out of politics. I want a strong platform for hemp and cannabis legalization to profit the state. And we want to address data centers and put a moratorium on them and halt progress before we move forward and while we can address the issues that they can cause. Those are my three main focus points of this campaign.
The three main focus points. Hell yeah. And I saw it on your website. It mentioned the Montana plan. Go ahead and give us a little breakdown on that.
So the Montana plan started in Montana through the former Republican governor of Montana in an effort to take money out of politics and um, reduce the corporate ability to inject money into elections and into our politicians. Uh, Basically, the state grants corporations rights, and the state can take away corporations' rights. And at this point, it's a movement to take away the rights of corporations to inject money into politicians and into our elections through various ways. And that's it, basically. We want to keep money out of politics, out of our elections, and out of our politics.
Absolutely. So moving towards, sorry, not a flies. Moving towards less less money in politics and keeping more money in the people's hands.
Keeping the power in the people's hands. Uh, the Montana, what corporations and super PACs are allowed to inject money into our elections, and this prevents corporations, 501c4s, and super PACs from putting money into our elections, basically.
Hell yeah. So moving towards better things in all directions is what it sounds like.
Hopefully, it basically our the money into our politics is the root cause of all of our issues. If we have issues with cannabis legalization, if we have issues with healthcare coverage, if we have issues with data centers, if we all of these things are so heavily influenced by the money that comes into our politics, and that sways the votes and the influence of our legislatures, legislators. So basically, if we can remove the bribe money and the dark money, we can create politicians, we'll force politicians to have
More transparency.
more transparency and a better representation of us.
I like the
That's
way
based.
that
That's
sounds.
it's like it's really it's simple stuff, but we need to talk about it. We need to get it out there. And the thing with my campaign is that other Democrats and Republicans won't talk about this stuff because it's the exact same stuff that funds the Democrats and the Republicans. So we're not funded by that stuff.
I like the way that sounds. So with that, like you mentioned, having trouble with cannabis legalization and with the data centers. Would you mind expanding on that?
Well, absolutely. So cannabis legalization has been an issue throughout all the states that have done cannabis legalization. So when things are legalized and states try to implement a new program, there's always challenges, there's always problems, and there's always bad players that come in. So my plan is to create a program here in Nebraska where we don't have to have outside influence, where we don't bring in big cannabis, where we don't bring in cartels, where we don't bring in outside, because we're farmers here. We already understand plant science. We already understand how to grow things. So I don't think that we need the outside influence that other states have depended on when they bring in a new cannabis program. I feel that we can do this from within our state, and we could be a self-funded and self-sustained cannabis program in Nebraska where we actually grow the cannabis and we sell the cannabis through state stores and we collect all of the money, where we're not talking about licensing out of state entities, where we're not talking about licensing and chasing after the regulations of other entities while they try and participate in the cannabis. Where there's many states that run state liquor boards and state liquor stores. So I'm just suggesting that we grow it all, we sell it all, and we collect all the profits here in Nebraska. It'd be the first time that anything like this has been done in the country.
That sounds like a very well thought out plan.
I've been through legalization in California in the late 90s throughout the what would you call it, the recreational legalization in California. And then after that, in the late teens in California, my wife and I moved to Oklahoma for 2019 when they introduced the medical Oklahoma plan. And we've seen what's gone wrong and what's gone right with these programs in these states. And we want to capture what's gone right and bring it to Nebraska and avoid what's gone wrong.
It's always good to avoid what's gone wrong. It's like looking at what has happened in the past and learning from it.
So many states have benefited from, I mean, the windfall of money that comes to states is just outrageous and wonderful. Like Colorado, if you would have been going to Colorado 10 years ago, you would have been annoyed by all the construction that was going on from the cannabis money. And now all the roads there look just beautiful. And when you drive around on the highways, it's gorgeous and smooth. So that these are things that can happen in Nebraska. And we have a major road problem here. We're falling behind on these roads in our city, in Omaha especially, and around the state also. Everywhere I've been, the roads are pretty rough. You know, we could use a lot of fixing. We pay our property taxes are higher than California. It's outrageous what Nebraskans pay, partially because of the small population here, but it's just mismanaged money. I think that we could make a lot more money here, and I think that we could do a lot more money with the money that we have in Nebraska.
Absolutely. And using the resources more optimally so that it can better the state and keep it up.
Yep. Yeah. Another thing that our current administration does, and maybe even our governor, is that they turn away a lot of federal funds that come to the state. One of the things that they were trying to deny was a summer school lunch program for kids that needed it. It was like $118 million federal program that was coming to Nebraska, and they turned it away. I think they might have finally reversed that, but initially they resisted that, which I just think is mean and not kind and not compassionate. In addition, like $430. It was like $400,000 worth of infrastructure for broadband expansion was denied, was turned away. 430 million was turned away by the governor, and now they're coming back and maybe talking about wanting it. I mean, there's and over the years there have been billions of dollars that we have turned away in federal money in the guise of it being welfare. It's ridiculous, like the federal money that we turn away here. And some of it is state match dollars, and some of it is for healthcare. But I think that the big thing that Nebraska could do, and the governance here could do, is to stop turning away federal dollars that are allocated for the people, that the people have paid into. We pay our taxes, and we pay our federal taxes, and that tax money comes back to us and can come back to us in federal funds if we accept it. But when we pay into those, when we pay our taxes and then our state denies federal funds from coming back to us, it's bad. It's very bad for the state.
Why we're in that.
It sounds like that's why would they turn so much money away?
Good question.
It's a really good question, and it's a very sad question, and it's why I'm running for governor. There's got to be a reason, and suspicious reasons of these actions would be, what kind of kickback do these politicians get when they turn away $400 million of money and they kick it back to an already corrupt federal government? Don't you think you'd get a little kickback of that?
Probably, actually. That makes a little bit of sense. I didn't think of it like that.
That's kind of where that's why my campaign is very unpopular among politicians and among people that may fund these things, is because I want to get the money out of politics. I want to get the money out that funds all of these poor decisions. I hope that these poor decisions aren't made just for kicks from these people. I hope that they're getting paid well. You see where I'm going? I hope that, I suspect it's because they're getting paid to work against us, as opposed to just wanting to do it out of their own good hearts.
So if you want the state of Nebraska to be a little bit better, vote for Rick Beard is what I'm hearing.
That's what we're hoping for, and that's what we're pitching. Vote for Rick Beard. Yeah, we're a third party, and and we haven't taken any PAC money. Honestly, we haven't been offered any PAC money because I know we won't take any PAC money. But the other parties are PAC funded, and they're special interest funded. And, I've met Lynn Walls. She is our Democratic nominee for the state of Nebraska. She's a very nice person. And Jim Pillen from other people. These are people, but I think that the parties that they are from and the parties that they work for have other missions and other goals, and they're not for the people. They're party-driven initiative. They're party-driven people. And if you've seen what the two parties have done to us over these last 100 and some years that they've been the two parties, it's why we've ended up. It's why we're here.
So what can we do to help get the word out?
Well, so this is, like, excuse the pun, but this is a totally grassroots campaign. And the thing that we can do is that we can get on our cell phones and we can just call our friends and tell them about me, and tell them that there is an option, and tell them to go register. Like I've been guilty of, maybe being a stoner and not voting over the years, but I think it's really important to get everybody who doesn't vote, who's not registered, who maybe is getting activated or woke up this year to do something. Like there's such a large percentage of the population that doesn't really participate in politics, that doesn't vote. It's amazing. I've After digging into this and after becoming a candidate and researching voter data, it is just it's seriously mind-blowing to me, the number of people that aren't registered. And I really feel that those can be our people. I don't want to take votes from the Democrats. I want to take votes from the Republicans. I think that those, they're already kind of decided. Like, talking part's done, um, people aren't swaying from their views. Blue votes blue and red votes red. So I think that we could bring in hundreds of thousands of newly activated citizens that want to do something about this if we get the word out. And without any, we don't have money. I can't fight a $10 million war chest that the governor has, or $5 million that the Democrats have, or all these PACs. So it's got to be like this underground, like we're doing right here, like super stoner activated, like underground, like spread the word that this is actually a potential, it's actually a possibility. That the fact that I made it onto the ballot is just with no money is just a pure miracle, like of rock and roll and God, because like usually I get blocked. Somebody like me would get blocked by a plant or by something, but the legal marijuana party has made it possible for anybody. Honestly, if people want to run for a position in Nebraska, they can sign up with the Legal Marijuana Now Party. Over the next couple of years, this is a platform that people like me, people like you, people like anybody can get on the ballot. So be aware of that. People worked long and hard to get this party on the ballot. So it's available to anyone. If anybody wants to run for a city position, a county position, as long as you want cannabis. You want to sit in? Okay.
So we're not going red or blue. We're going green.
We're going green and sticky with Governor Ricky. This is my AC/DC t-shirt from 1983, Flick of the Switch tour at the Civic Auditorium in Omaha, Nebraska. It's the real deal.
Oh, shit.
It's not a reproduction. That's the real deal from 1983, AC/DC in Omaha.
Oh, shit. That's fucking badass.
I wanted to throw that one out there for y'all tonight.
That one, that's pretty sick. I appreciate that a lot.
I mean, so that's where this whole thing's, if it's going to go, like the odds are so stacked against us. Like third parties get very little traction because the news and the media really keep us down. They don't like to address us as a party because they get funded or get, influence from the big parties with the money. So we're kept out of the limelight a lot, but that's the way that this whole thing is going to start, is from grassroots, us calling each other, texting each other, spreading the word, getting this thing out. Just because it's not gonna work any other way. And the main, we need to get the money out of politics. That's the main thing. Before we even talk about getting cannabis in or reforming like other things, like we need to get the money out of these guys' hands. The big money coming in, we have to, and it's through the Montana plan and other similar legislation like Hawaii just ran and succeeded in, and about 14 other states are doing this right now. So it's trending and popular, and it's, if I have my way, it's going to come to Nebraska, and we're going to get this dirty money out so that people can actually start making sensible decisions for the people here in Nebraska.
Yeah. I I agree with all of that. That sounds like a beautiful plan.
It's a very, it's a beautiful plan. And that's why it has to be grassroots because it's very unpopular with the rest of the political platforms. It's unpopular with the Democrats because they're funded by super PACs and by these monies, and the Republicans are funded by some of the same monies and some different monies, but it's all very corporately dictated, not in the hands of the people anymore. So if there is a chance that like one person or one dude or a couple dudes or people could like bust through to the top and actually get in a boss position like governor or like a state senator, or we can actually like maybe start creating some change.
Hell yeah. So it sounds like you're pretty well versed and very knowledgeable about what you're doing. It kind of gives me an inclination that you've had quite a bit of a history with it.
I have, and we have, my wife and I have. We worked with Bernie Sanders campaign 2016, 2020, I think a little 2018. Um, so we've seen what, oppression looks like and resistance looks like, where um, basically a third party candidate or an alternative candidate that's being very successful in Iran has been shut down by the powers that be. We've been through, can't, I'm the only, I'm maybe one of the only candidates in all of Nebraska for any position that has had any experience in cannabis legislation and legalization over the years. I was in California, and then, like I said, again in Oklahoma, and our county where I lived was directly affected by poor cannabis legislation that was influenced from outside money that can't this small county that was broke and in the red for over 11 years, 10 or 11 years. In 1 year of cannabis legalization, they went into the black, fixed everything, and they were influenced by big cannabis. The board of supervisors basically canceled 750 cannabis licenses and bankrupted the county again in 1 year by opposing cannabis legalization. So that was, I have been through a very small, it was a county based bad policy that basically looks like what Nebraska is doing on a whole state level, where we're kissing away money for counties, municipalities, we're dismissing the validity of the cannabis business, and through all of this, we're also dismissing the whole hemp industry that could come into Nebraska as an alternative for farmers, which is something we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, because there's actually not just cannabis, as in roll it, smoke it. There's a lot more to that where I've seen a lot of different things where they are like implementing building materials out of hemp. They are implementing a lot of different things you can do with hemp, like toilet paper, like a lot of products.
So there are yes, there are tons of. I think that it focuses in the building materials that we can make from hemp. The toilet paper thing, hemp is a very fibrous, hard to destruct substance. So if we start shoving the hemp fibers through toilet paper, it's a little hard for our systems to digest. So I think that the focus for that needs to go back, because you're going to hear negative stuff about that. So it needs to go to building supplies, this and industrial applications. We can make fuel out of hemp. We can make more fuel out of hemp than we can make out of corn. We can grow hemp and produce fuel from hemp seed with less water and less fertilizer than it takes to make it out of corn. We have a very heavy oil, ethanol, and corn lobby that are against that, but it's actually something that could happen in Nebraska. And there have been studies that have been done out of the University of Nebraska that show how Nebraska is a super viable environment for hemp farming and hemp production, manufacturing. We can grow hemp fiber on the east side of Nebraska where there's more water. We can grow hemp seed on the western side of Nebraska where there's less water. Hemp it returns more nitrogen to the soil than corn does. It still does require water and still does require nitrogen to grow, but it's less than what corn requires. And the return off of it is more than if you apply it to fuel and building supplies, it's more than what corn can produce. So we're denying ourselves an option by not having hemp in Nebraska.
Hell yeah, and I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really think about that as in multiple yields and having different. It adds the value. It almost doubles it because you get different sources from it that do different things. It just kind of. I didn't really think about that. That's
Yeah, and
really
it's amazing, honestly. Humans and animals can eat the seeds and the oils, and we know that it's beneficial to our health. We're not talking about smoking it and just everybody getting baked. We're talking about actually, the truly not even medicinal, but like just the health benefits from this plant that could come to everybody. And when you grow it, it returns more oxygen to the carbon dioxide to oxygen conversion is way higher than corn. There's just so many environmental benefits and it cleans the soil and removes carbon. It's a carbon neutral plant. It's just there's so many things that, and this is something that has been lobbied out by corporations and oil companies and everybody for 100 years now, since the 1930s, through the William Hearst and the DuPont chemical company that benefited from paper manufacturing, that eliminated hemp from when the oils and the plasticides came in. It's a gnarly, dirty rabbit hole if you want to ever go check that out. But we've being through California, through growing up here, being through California, being through Oklahoma, and then coming back to Nebraska, I actually have really solid cannabis and hemp ideas that we can really make money from here that aren't being addressed here. And I think that most people, and definitely our candidates, and definitely our politicians in Nebraska, have no experience with this plant and in other areas. Like, I've gone out and come back and I know about this stuff, and they're denying hemp production, especially. Like, we could do so much. Like you said, we're talking about the building supplies. It makes hemp blocks for housing. It makes flooring, hemp boards for flooring and housing, roofing, siding, hemp boards. It's just endless, the stuff that can be produced from this that we're not addressing as a powerhouse Midwest agricultural state. We're not addressing this.
So basically, hemp would boost the agricultural side of Nebraska as well as not only provide so many different things as a product and as a byproduct of what everybody thinks.
It it really could. The problem with this is that we need an end buyer, and we need an if we grow all this hemp, say we've got a bunch of awesome industrial hemp that I saw this happen in Oklahoma, a bunch of hemp that could go somewhere and be something. We need the facility, and we need the processors, and we need the manufacturers to be there. So before we, it's a hard, this is the hard situation, is that before we launch a hemp program, we need commitment maybe from other company, from out of state companies, or somebody who wants to who wants to invest in this thing. And if we had a governor, if we had somebody at the head who could assist in this, influence, and bring in other companies to buy our hemp, process our hemp, and make this into a product, that's what's gonna change the thing. Otherwise, we're gonna be growing hemp and bean, or we're gonna be growing corn and beans here forever, and challenged by the problems that come with that.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of like the way you put it makes it sound like there's like not enough going on.
There isn't enough going on. I spoke with Greg, I forget his last name, from Hempwood in Kentucky. I would encourage everybody to check out Hempwood in Kentucky. Um, Greg lived in the Vietnam jungles for 9 years and developed a formula to make, and he created bamboo flooring. This is the guy that created bamboo flooring, and now he's in Kentucky. He has two facilities, and they're making hemp flooring. It's out of hemp. It's hempwood. The company's called Hempwood. They make flooring, and it's kick ass. And they've been awarded the coolest thing in Kentucky, the coolest thing made in Kentucky award a couple times, and the shit's just awesome. So I was talking with him, and he was explaining exactly how, in order to succeed with the hemp program, we need somebody that's going to buy the stuff in the end. We saw in Oklahoma, people thought that the hemp was going to take off in 2019, and they farmed hemp, they grew it, and then they bundled it up in plastic in their fields, and the shit molded and rotted, and that was it. And it was because there was no end processing end product for it. So as soon as we can come up with a product, a company, a facility, we have Sydney, Nebraska with the old Cabela's. There's a ton of infrastructure, buildings, and people out there that could work. We also have Lexington, Nebraska, with the Tyson closure, where there's a whole city with, people and infrastructure where we could actually do these things. So I think to deny Nebraskans, deny this industry, and deny this world the possibility of hemp products is, it's wrong. It's really wrong for the state.
So we just need the processing facility. It sounds like in after, okay, so if I'm getting this right, it goes you got growth, harvest, package delivery, and then you have the processing stage, and then it sounds like after that you need distribution as well.
You need to sell it. The sales stage is the thing that the whole thing's hinged on. If we can't sell it, and if we don't have an end solution where this stuff's going to go, then we shouldn't be growing, But if I were to be the governor, or if a governor were really behind this, we could actually and push it. But the problem is that we've got outside influences like other building materials. I was on another podcast where I said that Big Wood was maybe one of the heavy lobbyists against it. And I was on the Zachary Faust show, and then he went and searched the internet for Big Wood and got some bad results. So anyway, don't search Big Wood. but actually it's kind of big wood that keeps the cannabis, the hemp business, the hemp and fiber industrial building supply thing down. And it's turned into oil, big oil. It's turned into all kinds of things. It's just been a very successful lobby over the last like 100 years that has made the hemp industry almost obsolete in this country when it's actually what this country was built on. And in Nebraska here, and I would imagine in Kansas, I don't know if you know about this, it was a long time ago, but in World War II, they needed hemp for the war to make ropes, perish fiber, fabric, everything. So they offered incentives, and they actually one of the things that they offered was if you grew hemp on your farm, you would be free from being involved in the draft. You wouldn't be drafted, nor would your kids be drafted. Think about that. In Nebraska, you could grow can of weed, you could grow hemp, and be excluded from going to the war, World War II. So
Just goes
my
to show the
kind
demand for rope.
yeah, and it's my funny take on the whole. It's my hilarious take on the whole thing is how Nebraska actually birthed the hippie. Grow weed and avoid the war. They promoted it, right? Okay, so
I love that. I didn't think.
yeah, right.
That's great.
Come on.
That's great.
Yeah. God bless Nebraska for the hippie.
That just made me think. I have there's a photographer I know in Nebraska. His name is Redbeard the hippie, and he's pretty awesome guy. He doesn't smoke, but he goes by Redbeard the hippie, and he does some really awesome work with photography.
Not all hippies smoke anymore. Well, hey, what about you? What's going on over there on your side?
Oh, we got a lot. We're gearing up for a tour. We're getting ready to leave June 1st. This is actually going to be our last episode until I get back from tour in June. Also, this is episode number 25, guys, by the way, so we're a quarter of the way to 100. That's crazy for me to think about.
Awesome. Congratulations on that.
But yeah, we got a big tour coming up this June. We're taking off the 2nd, and we're not coming back until the 29th.
Where are you going? Michigan again? Up to
Yep, we got Michigan, we got Texas, New Mexico, Colorado. We're coming back through Kansas, and then we're going down to Oklahoma to finish off the month at a festival called Rock the River Fest.
Where in Oklahoma are you going?
Tahlequah.
Right on.
I've played quite a few places. So you guys, where were you guys at in Oklahoma?
We were in Norman.
Norman. I played NCOM. Was that where it was? I think NCOM
I don't recognize that name there, but was that the name of the venue? NCOM?
I think so. I think that one was in Norman.
It might have been Oklahoma City.
No.
We were on the farm.
The one I played in OKC was the Aloha. I played a few places in OKC, and I played Ponca. Played the Axel in Ponca.
Did you get to hang out down there at all, or do you remember like kicking it with the people down there?
Where at?
In Oklahoma.
Yeah, I loved hanging out in Oklahoma. I got Rock the River Fest. This is like my 3rd year going to Rock the River Fest, and those people there are like family to me. I love those guys there.
Right on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we lived on a family farm out in Norman. We helped a family that was in their first year of licensing for medical cannabis and helped them navigate the legal process and the actual growing, clearing, farming, implementation of the whole thing, sales, the whole thing. It was a very enlightening experience as into how state legislation can go right and how state legislation can go wrong. And It's that's something that I bring to this. Nebraska already voted 71% for cannabis legalization, but none of our politicians have any experience in cannabis legislation or legalization or experience in the cannabis business. So that's what I bring to that's what I'm really bringing to this thing.
Well, and really, like, even just cannabis aside, it sounds like you have the experience and you have the knowledge that it takes to take the position to understand, what not to do because you've seen what could go wrong and what can go good. You have the knowledge and you have the experience behind you to know which decisions you need to make to do the right thing for Nebraska, is what it sounds like to me.
That's what I am hoping for. We've been very active in politics outside of the state, in the state, um, and we pay attention to a wide range of issues that affect Americans and that affect Nebraskans. Um, and I want to bring a sense of sensibility to governor to governance that we don't have. I just think these two parties right now have run away with people's. I just think that people follow these two parties too hard, and that they've run away with with their greed and what we've allowed them to do, and it's just out of our hands now. And I think it's time that we could actually take it back. I think this is like kind of some of the last moments, last few years, to where we're actually going to be able to take this thing back if we take it back. Otherwise, it could go. It's getting out of hand, I
It
think.
it sounds like it's getting. I mean, like, and it sounds like we're at a point in time where the generation that is starting to be able to vote is starting to realize the things that are kind of wrong with the government. I mean, people who have gone through a governmental class of sorts, and like people who just have experience in politics, I feel like that it's now kind of in the younger generation's hands to kind of step up and kind of say, hey, this shit needs to kind of stop.
It is. It's very much up to the younger generations, and it's up to our unregistered voters, and it's up to all these people that aren't boomers. It's like this. The older generations and this old way of thinking has gotten way too out of hand. I'm 58 years old, and I'm like right on this cusp of where conservative values maybe can are outweighed by unconservative values. I think it's time for the youth and for people to take this thing back. Obviously, we have like a lot of younger conservative people, but there's so many people that aren't involved in politics, you know, and I think that maybe this year, if any year, would bring awareness and bring those people into the circles. Um, the whole thing has gotten just grossly out of hand with the two parties that we've given power to, and at some point, if I'm not it, if the next person isn't it, a third party will come to rise, because these two are basically, it's like one party, and they're the same party, and they just keep passing bad policy for all of us. So at some point, like, the good has to rear its good head and rise.
Yeah, and like, who says it has to be just blue or red? There's so many other colors on the color wheel. It is a spectrum there. I mean, there should be choices, you know?
it it's something that we're being opposed by, that a third party can't rise, and that the news and the media doesn't like to cover, like I touched on earlier, they don't like to cover third parties. um but it's highly necessary, and it's honestly the only way out of it, because I think that these two, it's a one party system. And I think that maybe, the Democrats in some areas, there's soft opposition to the Republicans. And it's just never going to go anywhere outside of these two parties. Um, we need something that isn't funded by super PACs. We need something that isn't funded by big corporations, and we need something. I, that's the will of the people, basically.
And something I've kind of noticed is, well, and this is kind of just like pattern recognition over the years, but looking back, if you were to go back, just even say like 40, 50 years, looking at the votes in like House of Congress or Senate or anywhere there, where you see the two parties that are voting, uh, looking way further back, you would see more votes that were more distributed equally among the parties, where it's like people actually took the time to pay attention to what they were voting on rather than just voting for hive mind. They had their own individual thought process, whereas more nowadays you just see more Republicans stick to Republicans and Democrats vote Democrats, and there's no it's all like just hive mind, stay to your team kind of thought process with that.
It is. It's a big problem. Down party ballot voting when nobody considers the actual person because they just vote blue or they just vote red. Um, it's, you know, for instance, here in Nebraska, people voted Republic. People run Republicans run as Democrats, and Democrats run as Republicans to cloud the whole voting system, and it's very crooked, and it's hard to follow for the average voter unless you like spend as much time as I do, or and it's like unless you like really research this stuff, it's really hard to tell like which candidate is real and which isn't. And if you do something like down party ballot voting, where you like just vote for Democrats, or and if you see a Democrat woman, you for sure vote for them. Like that type of stuff gets everybody in trouble because we don't really investigate who's running.
Yeah, and
Um,
I was just thinking the same thing because like a lot of problems that I've noticed with like I've even like my sister's age, not targeting my sister specifically. I'm not saying my sister's like this, but around like mid 30s area, and they just watch an ad and they go, "Oh, I like that ad. I'm gonna vote that guy,"
yeah,
without
I've
doing
had
any
that problem.
research.
I have that problem myself. Um, I sent a picture of me and Lynn Walls to a friend. She's the Democrat who's running for governor in Nebraska, and they didn't have any idea who that person was. Yet they said that they'd be voting for them while I'm their friend running for governor. So it's like a lot of down. It's just too much down party ballot voting. And I guess that's one thing that we could bring to the table here. The chances of a third party winning in Nebraska are very slim. We realize that. But in this campaign, we have some real issues and some real things that we want to bring to the table and enlighten people about, you know? And that's what this mission is. If everybody wants to sense up and vote for me, that'd be awesome. But we just want to shed some light and bring these issues to the table and clarify what people are voting for and actually what they're not voting for and all of that.
That makes sense. Keep the people educated and let them know, like, hey, this is what we're doing. If you guys are with it, hop on.
Yeah, and both Democrats. And this is just the truth of the matter. I'm not like trying to. It's no conspiracy theory or anything, but They're all funded by big PACs, big money, big corporations, special interest, and that's just the truth of it. I'm not like making stuff up. It's just that's the truth of the Republican Democrat Party. And if we want to get outside of super PAC funded votes, super funded policies, super PAC funded everything, we're gonna have to vote for somebody else outside of these parties
Absolutely.
at some point.
Third party will rise someday. Someday people will realize, hey, maybe these two are not the only two options.
Well, and the definition of insanity, when you keep voting for the same thing over and over and expect a different outcome. But ding, but doom.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
it's
is,
just as simple as that.
and it
Like
is
it
true.
doesn't like they're the same. It's the same PACs and the same people that are funding both these parties, and we're starting to realize this through all of the awareness that's going around with independent media and social media
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
and stuff like this right here.
Yeah, just sharing the word, getting the word out. By the way, make sure you guys go check out Hempwood. Was that what it was? Hempwood?
Yeah, hempwood.com out of Kentucky. It's a brilliant play. It's a brilliant project. So they do manufacture flooring that's like comparable to it's better than like the finest bamboo, flooring. It's super dank wood flooring for houses, and it doesn't emit any of the plasticides or the chemicals that other more commercial flooring does. It is more expensive at this point because it's a smaller, obviously, it's a smaller production type thing, but I think it's very worthwhile checking out. And there's all kinds of hemp block. There's all kinds of hemp block producers that you can check out. Hemp Block USA is a awesome building supply manufacturer. They make hemp blocks that are structurally sound. Some hemp blocks are not structurally sound. Some are. They do require some framing, but they're incredibly insulative, and it's a great building material that almost thank you, almost fireproof. So I
Fireproof.
mean
That's. I mean,
the build
that's gonna be great for fire marshal and being up to code.
it's amazing. Like the other building manufacturers are obviously helping keep hemp manufacturing down, but that is something that here in Nebraska, um, there's been proven research that we can do it, and that it would be a viable commodity for Nebraska to produce
Hell yeah.
and export and make money off and tax and everything. And I also think that we could have back to the weed and everything. I think that we can have we could profit $500 million a year for Nebraska if we grow our own weed,
Absolutely.
sell it, market it, blow our own slabs, do our own, do the whole show and sell it all, and then keep it all in house so that we don't have to license out of state cowboys. We run it all, and then we keep all the money. So Nebraska's been resisting cannabis legislation for a year and a half now, even though it was voted in 71%. And like, I honestly don't know how to sell it more in Nebraska to these guys who are resisting it, other than us be the growers, us be the dealers, us blow it, sell it, tax it, slang it, test it, make sure it's pure, and sell it to our people.
Absolutely.
You know, we've been resisted. The cannabis regulation and legalization has been resisted on every corner, every way that our unicameral can do it. So my proposal, to excuse the pun, but to trump all of their negative promotion of this, is to actually have state grown, state housed, like I said, state blown, state tested, state processed, state sold. So it's all in house. I don't know how anybody's going to like how our legislature is going to refuse or resist $500 million a year in profit from just doing it in house.
That would be so great, and finding funding for that wouldn't be very hard at all.
It wouldn't be, and that would come through my hemp and bud bond that we would sell to our Nebraska citizens with a heavy return after like 4 or 5 years, nice fat, like double your, half, 50% gain on your money in a few years so that, we could actually fund it in the state and then return those profits to the people that funded it originally with jobs and also 12,000 jobs, create 12,000 jobs in the state that could, average $50,000 a year with benefits. We also want to give those state hemp and cannabis employees health coverage, right? Through our state covered health plan that we want to launch. And then if it works for those state funded state employees, then maybe we could, kick that out a little bit and expand it to other people in Nebraska, get us some health coverage up here.
Hell yeah, that sounds like great. That just sounds like great things all the way around, moving towards bigger and better things.
And I've got one more thing that as we move forward with like hemp, let's call it hemp legalization and hemp realization in Nebraska, the actual reality of how hemp farming and how medical cannabis farming is going to go. The current administration is suggesting they have licensed 4 farms in Nebraska to grow 1,200 plants each for the entirety of Nebraska's medical needs. None of this will be smoked or vaped or provided in flower form. It's all going to be processed into pills, ointments, and something else. So there's no flower, and there's only going to be 4,400 plants grown for 2 million people's needs. So if you can do the math on this, you can see that this program is clearly set up to fail and not really provide medicine to the people.
That's what I
It's
was
a
going to
joke.
say.
Yeah. And in addition to those problems, they are suggesting that medical cannabis in Nebraska be planted outdoors. They're talking about putting plants in the ground on June 1st as a hypothetical start date for this shit. Okay? No, this is bullshit. They are suggesting that we grow our medical cannabis outdoors next to the corn that is sprayed with who knows what. Okay, we're not growing medical cannabis outside. If you know, Sonny, the stuff's grown indoors in filtered, controlled environments.
You gotta have the lights for it. You gotta have nitrogen in the soil. You gotta have calcium balls. You gotta have all sorts of shit to make that grow.
All the stuff. So to say that we're going to grow medical,
it might turn purple. Just saying.
So to say that they're going to grow medical cannabis out by the corn is absolutely ridiculous. It was never intended to succeed in the first place. So what? Obviously, moving forward with this whole thing, industrial hemp gets grown outdoors and medical cannabis gets grown indoors in filtered environments where there's no mold, no pesticides, no herbicides, no spores, no pollen. It's all brought in, air is brought in through HEPA filters. This is something that people Nebraska's new to this, so they don't understand this. But our politicians are snowing everybody by saying that we're going to grow medical cannabis outdoors, 4,400 plants total for the whole state, grown outdoors from June until October, when we actually really grow the stuff indoors and filtered in sterile environments, 5 harvests a year. Duh. They think that we're idiots. I think that Nebraskans aren't educated enough on this. I think that this is where like some knowledge and realization and reality needs to check in on this whole process.
Absolutely. Yeah, people just need to get educated and get in the know.
I want to lose.
I feel like when people understand things, then they will see things a little bit clearer.
Yeah, they will. Everybody needs to be brought up to speed on how cannabis growth, how cannabis production actually goes down. Otherwise, we can't really fully understand what the state is actually, what our legislatures and our governors actually doing to prevent all of this from happening.
Absolutely. Sorry, I don't know why my camera's being all weird. All right. Do you have Okay, this question. What would be your message that you want to deliver to all of the people of Nebraska?
Nobody likes this one. Both parties are funded by the same super PACs. So both parties are funded by the same dirty money. And it's very unfortunate. So, in order to escape the stranglehold that we're in, we're going to have to vote for something else other than that. Um, there are possibilities. There is a bright future. I hope that Nebraska can, choose wisely. It's very hard. You have a Democratic choice and you have a Republican choice, and you have I'm a very underfunded third party choice. Um, I think that we need to address Nebraskans need to wake up to data centers. They need to get on board with you know, the potential hemp business that could actually benefit Nebraska, and we need to get our money out of politics. So if people keep supporting the parties that are funded by dark and dirty money, I don't think that we have anywhere to go. Um, but I think if we start thinking out of the box and we start addressing options that are realistic and not dark money driven, that we can climb out of this hole that we're in. I mean, that's it. Your people are voting red or blue. Those are the two options you have. So there's only like a couple candidates. There's three candidates in Nebraska that aren't dark money third, main party options. So I think if you get outside of that, we can start making progress.
So basically, what I'm hearing: don't vote red or blue. Vote what helps you.
Yeah, vote your heart. Investigate your candidates, and don't vote down ballot. It's there's good people on both sides of this, but we need to start picking them instead of blindly voting red or blue. And we need to start entertaining third party options, because if we keep voting red or blue, you're going to keep voting. We're going to be in the same thing. The same place we're in right now. That's what it comes down to.
Be the change you want to see. I like that.
Dare, be scared, and dare to vote. Be scared and vote. Scared.
Well, thank you so much. I loved having you on the show, man. But we're right.
Thank you, Sonny B.
Absolutely.
It's a good time.
Thank you so much for being out here. Thank you guys so much for coming out and watching. Make sure that you go check out Hempwood. Make sure you go vote for Rick Beard. Go register to vote. If you're in Nebraska, go vote for Rick Beard, the Legal Marijuana Now Party of Nebraska. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I will catch you guys in the next one. Until then, deuces.